What's up, friends? Hope you're doing super well. Today's video is a little bit different. Today I want to talk a little bit about something that I've been thinking about comes from a book that I was reading called Slow Productivity. So Slow Productivity is a book by an author named Cal Newport. Cal Newport is a professor of computer science at Georgetown, and he's also written a bunch of books. And I wanted to show you the book. So here's the book, Slow Productivity: The Lost Art of Accomplishment Without Burnout. And as you know, I'm sure, I've been working this year so far on a J.J. Johnson project since January, kicking off with some jazz festivals and concluding this month, the end of this month, with a performance at the International Trombone Festival celebrating J.J. Johnson with big band and also with small group. So it's been a season of pushing out my performance, making sure that we're sharing JJ to make sure that people know that it's his 100th anniversary. And it's just been a real joy to be able to do that. But one thing that I really took away from this book, and by the way, I'm going to put the links down below to grab the Amazon version, like a hard copy, or the Audible version if you want to listen to it. I listened to this book, but I think that I am going to get the hard copy and I want to read it again because it was really impactful. And there's a certain idea that I think very much is responsible for helping to create a lot of momentum in your productivity and a lot of momentum directly as it relates to you and your practicing and your projects. So for a lot of you, I'm sure that we're coming up on the summer. So if you're a current student, if you're about to finish school, maybe you're a professor or a teacher, you know, our industry works a lot on seasons and seasonality, and works a lot with, the school year or a season of presentation or a summer presentation. There's kind of the school year, and then there's the summer in terms of gigs, in terms of practicing, in terms of projects, in terms of when things come out, if you're a person who is releasing music and all of that kind of stuff. So what I want to talk to you about today that I found super interesting and what I'm doing, and kind of share what I'm doing and find out hopefully what you all are doing and how this idea could potentially help you, is to talk about this idea that comes from his book, Slow Productivity, is this idea of seasonality. So seasonality is exactly what it sounds like, that there's a season in which you're focusing on one thing and then you kind of shift your focus to another. And in the book, he starts to really dig into how humans are seasonal creatures, and that in our history, it's always been the fact that we are seasonal, and that there is more rest in some periods and then there's more activity in other periods, and that it's important to prevent burnout, to have periods of high productivity and periods of a little bit less productivity. And I think it's important to think about that in terms of your musical projects and your practice. So what today's video is all about is how to use seasonality in your practice to help you to achieve more in your musical life. And you can also trade this to be about your projects. This could be about your schoolwork. This could be about your job. This could be about anything really. But I think it's really important idea that he talks about, which is obvious when you think about it, but sometimes we're just like hustle, grind, and we never take any time to figure out, well, when is the time to recharge, and when is the time to focus on one thing or another. So I've been thinking about this a lot, and I'm using this time to talk to you all about it, to hopefully clarify for myself what it is that I'm doing, what it is that I'm thinking about, and what are the seasons coming up, what can you expect from me, and open up a discussion about how you're using these ideas to help you and in your life. So like I said, you can find the links down below, and this is really something to just help us to avoid burnout. Now, traditionally, I might be the type of person, or you might think that I'm the type of person, that when we get to the summer, I'm thinking about, it's school is off and I get to not be in the classroom quite as much, so I'm gonna relax. Well, I would say that usually what happens in the summertime is that I actually try to go harder on my projects because I'm feeling like I have a little bit more free time, and then I'm like, all right, I'm going to go for it. So like last summer, I decided to write a textbook called Jazz Frameworks Volume 1. The link to that is also down below if you want to check it out. It's a free textbook that the University of North Texas helped me to put out about jazz vocabulary and bebop language and all of that. But that took up basically all of my June last year, trying to get that book out. And then we had some other things to do in July, and the school starts again in August. This year, the year before that, maybe it was 2 years ago, I released Create, Connect, Repeat, another book about music business and building an artistic business as a musician. So usually the summer has been a time when I have a project in mind and I'm going to get it done, and I'm going to really focus my energy there because I have a little bit of extra time. You know, reflecting on kind of that seasonality and thinking about how am I going to sustain productivity and how am I going to sustain the ability to continue to have new and interesting ideas and new and interesting projects. I'm trying to carve out time to think about new things that will challenge me into the future, and things that aren't just a sprint to get done, but are things that I can work on for a season. And in this season, I also need to incorporate things like rest. And that's not something I've always traditionally done. You've maybe seen over the years on this channel many projects, many videos talking about how to get more projects done. And I think that listening and reading this book, if you don't know Cal Newport's work, there's other books called The World Without Email that's really great, talking about just the inefficiencies of constant communication. And also Deep Work is kind of maybe his most famous one, talking about minimizing distractions and not task switching and things of this nature. And I'm happy to dig more into that stuff here on the channel if it's interesting to you all. So let me know what you think down in the comments. If you don't know this person or who I'm talking about, you should check it out. It's a pretty interesting discussion, especially as musicians, where we do have like a practice that needs to happen every day in order to fulfill the development of our craft, you know, to work on the development of our skills and work on the development of our musicianship. I think it's all really important. So for me, this is what's happening. I've been focusing on this JJ project, and it's going to last for the rest of the year. I've been really focused on making sure to try to maintain while being busy, essentially. So for the past, I'll say 5 months, I've been focused on, you know, learning the JJ repertoire, being proficient with the JJ repertoire for big band, for small group. I had a couple of guest appearances. I had some lectures to give. I'm finishing up the kind of the last bit of that new stuff in order to finish out some of these great opportunities that have come from this project, including speaking at the International Society of Jazz Arrangers and Composers in Nashville this May 2024, talking about JJ's large ensemble music, and which is going to transition me into my next season here. So really focusing on that, maintaining my responsibilities as an educator to my students. We had the most students I've ever had graduate this semester, so we had lots of great recitals, and trying to recruit for the future and make sure that there's a healthy studio moving ahead with such a large number graduating. So there's a lot of responsibilities there to maintain. And then also just being involved with the International Trombone Festival that's coming up at the end of May, beginning of June, not only to play at it and be able to maintain my integrity as a performer, but to also be helping to organize some of the events, including that J.J. Johnson tribute that we're doing on June 1st. If you're seeing this, maybe you can find it online later. But so this season of maintaining in order to focus on this project is kind of coming to a close after the end of, let's say, May of 2024, and it's time to move into, you know, the summer quarter. You know, there's a reason that a lot of businesses operate on the quarter system. You know, it's enough time to really dig into something. It's a semester is just slightly longer than a quarter. You know, it's a good amount of time to use as a benchmark, as a barometer for what you might want to focus on and when you might want to switch focuses, and, you know, trying to close one chapter to move to the next chapter. And not that you have to close things on a certain tight schedule like that, or that the seasons are always the same length depending on where you are in your life, all this kind of thing. But as I'm relating the seasonality to me and to my career and trying to make sure that I'm not going to burn out with all the things I have in mind to do, I'm kind of moving towards a period of productivity in my composition and kind of challenging myself to do something that I've never done before, and to move towards a compositional lens. I kind of moved away from that. I took a period after the release of Dreams, Visions, Illusions, which came out last year, 2023. That piece was written the year before that, and so kind of in the interim, I haven't really been composing all that much since that piece that was commissioned by Chamber Music America, part of their New Jazz Works program. And I'm so grateful that I was able to participate in that and go to their conference, and they helped me to release the album and support that project, and got to go on tour and support that project as well last April. But now it's time to kind of not go into the cocoon, but last summer I just mentioned I was writing a book, a textbook, kind of focused on that academic side, and kind of focusing on putting basically a class I was teaching, an improvisation class, into a textbook to help facilitate the future of that class, and kind of maintaining how it can move forward, maybe with or without me, if I'm too busy to teach the class, something like that, or I get reassigned, or the studio grows. All of those things is important to have a way forward in that. So this summer, it's kind of moving back into growing as a player. And by growing as a player, that means kind of committing to a intense, focused practice every day. I've been very, I'm just going to be open and honest. I've been very hot and cold with practicing, kind of really intense for short bursts, for as much volume as I can. And then it'll go to focus on other things and kind of just maintaining, like I've been saying, maintaining because of events, maintaining because of teaching obligations, maintaining because of any number of reasons. But so I want to get back to an area of growth and an area of focused, intense practice. I think I've been focused on JJ's music, so we're going to maybe expand that focus to include some stuff that I just never got around to learning, some stuff that I challenge my students with, just to continue to give myself challenges as a performer. There's so much that I could challenge myself with. It's kind of endless, but focusing in on some of the things that maybe I skipped over or that I feel less proficient on. But more specifically, something that's really difficult for me. And if you see me talk about in any of the Ask Nick videos, kind of maintaining a consistent routine. I always talk about kind of having a basket of different routine items. So meaning some flexibility, some long tones, some articulation exercises, some ways of practicing tunes, et cetera, and kind of using a grab bag approach and just kind of picking out what I want to use at any given time. However, as wonderful as that is, it's not always the case that it's the most efficient way to attack your development. And so I'm going back to the drawing board. I have put together, and you may have seen over the last couple of years, some routines, and I'm going back to them. So I just had printed for ITF another round of books. So I've pulled this back out. Get ready. So I put this out in, let's see, when did this come out? A couple of years ago. I think maybe during pre-pandemic even. Let me see when the copyright is on here. Yeah, 2019. So this is 5 years old already, this routine. So you can find it online. You can find play-alongs on Spotify and Apple Music under all that. It's under my secondary artist name. So it's just Professor Finzer, because it's an educational tool. So I kind of I want them to be separate from my music, because you don't want to be listening to JJ Johnson and then it randomly plays you a long tone exercise. That would be no good for anybody. But it's a 20-minute routine, maybe slightly longer, 22 minutes, something like that. And I'm going to do it every day. I've been hearing great feedback from people saying, like, if I do this every day, I'm feeling really good. I'm like, I did come up with this for a reason. And so I'm trying to take my own medicine here. And so I'm going to get back to doing that. So focused, intense practice. That's part one of the seasonality, this summer season that I'm moving into here. And daily, or at least weekly, kind of focus on composition and writing, for challenging myself to write for something new. I got some exciting large ensemble projects going to come up in about 10 months from now. which we'll talk more about on this channel. But we're going to wrap up J.J. Johnson's 100th with a bang here at UNT in this fall. So I got some exciting things that are coming along. But so I'm moving into this seasonality of composition, focused practice, trying to grow myself again from a period of kind of maintaining, not plateauing, but kind of just maintaining, and then kind of getting some more of that focused growth in the technical side of my trombone playing, and then expanding my musicality by focusing on growing and developing on the composition side for an ensemble I've never written for before. So it's going to be a lot of fun and a lot of chances to challenge myself. So I'm excited for that. It's going to be challenging, but not difficult. So I'm trying to use this summer to, obviously I have some gigs and things like that, and that'll be fun, but I'm trying to just focus on creating space, having these intense moments of practice, intense moments of focus and creativity, and then kind of allowing for some more freedom of just not grinding all the time. So that's what I'm thinking about. And I do kind of operate, again, on the quarter system, this kind of seasonal system. He specifically is also a professor, this Cal Newport, in this book, Slow Productivity. So he's talking about, being able to use that seasonality of semesters and summer and breaks to kind of help you organize your life and to create room to recover so that you don't burn out. So as someone who's been going super hard, let's see, my birthday's coming up. I'm going to be 36. So definitely since I was 15 or 16, for 20 years, kind of going as fast and hard as possible in terms of developing career, developing music, projects, business, my business outside of music, et cetera, really trying to create space to move forward. Because sometimes we end up getting caught in a loop of busyness and caught in a loop of what you think you're supposed to be doing and not a lot of time to reflect. So this next season is going to be devoted to that intense, focused practice, intense creativity, and somewhere that's going to challenge me and something I've never done before, and then space. So those are my 3 priorities for the next quarter. So technically the quarter, it probably starts at the end of June, technically, in 3-month chunks. But my quarter is going to start now in May and go through August. That's about 3 months. So when school starts again in the middle of August, it will kind of recalibrate again to focus on new priorities. But those are my priorities. And this book is really, really good. And I hope you'll check it out. I know it's been a meandering discussion of seasonality and focus, but I'm thinking about this YouTube channel. I'm thinking about ways that we can expand the topics we talk about to be more relevant to other things than just bebop language and trombone playing. These are ideas that have fascinated me for a long time, and I hope they'll be useful to you. Again, the book is called Slow Productivity. You can see it here on the screen. If you're watching on YouTube, you can grab it on Amazon or whatever. But this book was really effective for me, and I thought it was really useful information. So I hope you'll be able to check it out. And yeah, let me know what you think. If you want to discuss these ideas in more detail, maybe we can have a live stream about it. But I hope you're having a great week. I hope this video has been interesting to you, and we'll catch you in the next one.